All right. If you're anything like me, you've been bombarded with videos on YouTube about the Nintendo Switch coming out and how it's way too expensive. And I'm going to be honest, my first reaction was that $450 is definitely financially within reach and that I love Nintendo. And I didn't really understand why there's so much commotion going on about this topic. But one thing about me is I really do like to listen and I like to check. All of this arose a curiosity in me that made me want to get to the bottom of if these people are right about Nintendo and if the price really should come down. I understand the main concepts of what they were saying about the fact that if we allow companies to charge us price increases, there's really nothing stopping them from doing it in the future. But still, if they need to increase the prices, I think they should. So I did my own research. And wow, what I uncovered is far worse than I could have ever imagined. As we all know, the Switch 2 is set to come out on June 5th, 2025, with a price tag of $450. I think I can speak for a lot of people when I say that this price is not so far out from what we can afford. In fact, I kind of felt like the backlash was overstated at the beginning. But what is this console really worth? What are these games really worth? What is the cost to make them? And I think what the main question here is it fair for us to pay more to Nintendo? Do they need the money more than we do? I hope you're ready for this, but in 2023, Nintendo's revenue was about $12 billion. And as you can imagine, for a huge company, those aren't necessarily crazy numbers. Many companies nowadays pull in multiple billions and billions of dollars in revenue because revenue is the money that came in from selling something. So if you add all the money they made from selling consoles, games, accessories, everything that they sell, that money came out to $12 billion, which is so much money. However, their net profit was over $3 billion. Most people don't quite understand what profit is. I think most people just hear profit and they think profit bad, profit should be less, and that's that. They don't quite understand the atrocity that is profit. And by the way, I actually own a small business, so I'm not exactly like an anti-capitalist by any means, but I think it takes a very rational brain to understand that profits are not necessary if your business has savings to get by during some hardships. If you have lines of credit that you can take if your business goes through a hardship, then you don't need to have crazy profits every year. You really don't. And I'm going to explain this very simply. You see, the CEO, the money left over after the president of Nintendo, which is Shintaro Furukawa, gets his almost $3 million salary and bonuses every year after we pay the president, as well as all the other board members who are making millions and millions of dollars, after we pay for all the materials that need to come together, all of the labor, the software engineers and the people that made the game. When you pay for all these things and you pay for the advertising to get the game out to your eyes, when you pay for everything, the money left over after that, after everyone got paid, after Nintendo got paid, is profit. So really, profits are just excess money they didn't need. I'm sure you're thinking, well, what if they go through hardship? They need some savings. Well, let me tell you about their savings. Here is a little excerpt that will give you an insight, as much as you need, really, because if you dive any further, you'll just get more mad about how much cash they have. And I quote, "They literally have that much in just cash. Pure liquidity. Basically, they have $11.44 billion in cash. If Nintendo said, I'll pay you $10 billion for that, they could literally have the dollar bills in front of you tomorrow, assuming the bank came through. And they'd still have $1.5 billion in cash after that. The reason why this is so crazy is because most companies don't hoard that much cash. Cash over time loses value. And what is much more beneficial is for them to invest that money, whether it be in themselves, whether it be in some kind of future venture or investment. They are holding that much in just cash. And remember, we talked about how their revenue was $12 billion. So They have enough cash to literally make a year's worth of games for free. Think about that. All of next year's games, the consoles, the games, all of that free. And they'd be perfectly fine. Everyone at Nintendo would still get paid. The people who made your game, even the people that are getting overpaid, such as all of the all of the C-suite of every department, all those people would get their money, even though they're not literally making the game. They're just sitting there talking and collecting money. All of these people would still get paid, and they could give you the game for free. You would have to pay nothing, and they'd be fine. $3 billion out of $12 billion is 25%, which means that in 2023, if they had reduced their prices by 25%, they would have operated just fine. They could have kept chugging along. They wouldn't have touched their exorbitant $12 billion in savings they already have. They wouldn't touch it. They would just have kept chugging along. They don't need the billions in profits. It's crazy. And by the way, I'm so sad to see comments about people saying that the C-suite of Nintendo actually is underpaid compared to other presidents and C-suite officers. That is literally so embarrassing to even conceive as a thought. Guys, they're making like $200,000 a month. Every single month, $200,000. Sure, after taxes, there's less than that. But how do you blow this much money? You can't. It's more money than you can spend. You would have to literally make dumb purchases. You would need to get scammed because there is no meat and rice and food and clothing that you actually need that is over $1,000 each. If you wanted a brand new pair of shoes every single month, they'd be like $1,000 to $5,000, and that's ridiculous. You don't need these things. You don't even, look, it becomes a want, and these wants are essentially just addictions. So really, the only way to blow through your hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, or to even spend half of it, is to be severely addicted to things that you don't need. It's literally bad for you to make this much money. It's not good for your psyche or your mental health. So it's crazy to me to defend how much these people make. And they make this money and more. They take money out of your wallet for no reason. It's literally just to flex to shareholders. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So in 2023, $3 billion, like we said, is 25% of their revenue that was left over just to flex. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom came out at about $70. If they had released it at $53, everyone in the company would have been paid just fine just to make this game and give it to you. And I understand that I'm sounding like a broken record at this point, but you need to internalize that this was greed in 2023 before the price increases. Before, I haven't even touched on the fact that they are giving you less and expecting you more. Like, I didn't touch on the overpriced legacy content, the repackaging of old content, all the shady practices that they do. I'm not even touching all those reasons. I'm talking purely on a financial, logical level. It is ridiculous for them to have this much profit every single year. And after all that, they came to your door recently in the last few months, and they demanded that you pay another price increase for what? I don't know. Like, if you make an extra 25% of money every single month and you have a year's worth of savings, then good for you, right? You shouldn't be shamed. You're a human being. In fact, that's what you should have. You're a person. You need to be responsible, right? Financially. But if you're like the rest of us, which is like the 95% of humans on this planet, you don't have a whole year's worth of savings like Nintendo does. You don't make 25% of savings every single month. As you know, most Americans are paycheck to paycheck. So why should you, a human being that needs food, have to have your wallet squeezed even more so that they go from 25% net profit to 30% net profit. You can never convince me that this is okay. You can never convince me that it's all right. Oh, just don't pay attention to it. It's all right. They just need money. You have it. Just pay it. This is literally what is destroying our society, is people who think like this. And I encourage you to do your own research. Don't only listen to me. Do your own research. Dive into how much these companies really make, because last time I checked, Nintendo is extremely healthy. Their stock price is near all-time highs. Everyone there keeps getting raises. They're doing just fine. They didn't need before, and they sure as fuck don't need it now. They don't need the price increase. So yes, what they just did is absolutely an act of war, and you must boycott before it gets worse.